Selena Howland.
Yes, me.
I'm Shanice Honabar. Nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Yourself?
Good.
All right, come this way. My office is this way. Have a seat. Did you have trouble finding the place?
No, it's pretty easy to find.
All right, great. So, which position are you applying for?
The developmental support worker.
Okay. So, I have an interview of about 10 questions. It shouldn't take any more than 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
All right, so just take your time, and if you have any follow-up questions before you submit your answer, then just let me know. All right, so the first question is just a get to know you question.
Mm-hmm.
What degree do you have?
I have my DSW degree, and I'm currently going for my nursing degree.
Okay. So the second question is a situational question. Well, the next three questions are.
Okay.
So your client is bringing the garbage out and begins to have a tonic-clonic seizure. What steps do you take?
Well, first I would make sure that there is nothing around them they can hurt themselves with. I would roll them onto their side, so that way if they do end up throwing up or something like that, it would fall out of their mouth so they wouldn't choke. And you would just let them wait until it ends, and you would time it. And if it doesn't end after about a minute or so, you would want to see if there's any medications that you can give them.
Okay, good. All right, so the next situation is your client is in a wheelchair, he's nonverbal, and he needs to be toileted every hour. He is becoming upset as you take him towards the washroom. What would you do in this situation?
Well, you would want to explain to him why you're going to the washroom and how it would benefit him. But if he's still upset, you would want to tell him that you'd be back in a few minutes and try again. But if he continues to be aggressive or angry, you would just let him and avoid going to the bathroom because it's his right to refuse.
Okay, that's a good point. His right to refuse. It's perfect. All right, the last situational question is, your coworker that you work with regularly for your shift continues to not be productive and often slags on completing the task for the night. What would you do to confront your worker?
Well, you would want to talk with them calmly and voice how they're supposed to be working and how it's disrupting the flow of the work shift. And if they are not agreeing to change to try and accommodate everything, then you'd want to speak with your supervisor.
Okay, good. So the next three questions are behavioral type of questions. So they're more about your personal experience. So the first one is, can you tell me of a time that you had to advocate for someone and how you handled it?
Oh, one of the times was there was a medication that a patient was having where the doctor had ordered it and the patient did not want to take it because they didn't like the side effects. So in that situation, I wanted to speak with the physician to see if there was maybe a different form of the medication that would reduce the symptoms for the patient.
Yes, and this is often a situation that would happen in this position. Like you said, it is the right of your client to refuse, and you do have to validate their rights and kind of work with the situation as it happens. So that's perfect. So the next behavioral question is, tell me of a time that you helped somebody reach a goal.
There was a resident that wanted to be more independent and didn't like the fact that they were using a wheelchair or a walker. So when that happened, I worked gradually with the client to get more strength in their legs so that they could get out of the wheelchair and use their walker more often, and then eventually just use a support device.
That's great. Some of our clients do use wheelchairs. Some of them are mobile and are kind of in the transition from being mobile to needing a walker or a wheelchair. So it's great that you have that experience. It may come in handy, as of course nobody likes to not be independent and mobile. We all like to move. So.
And do you guys have physiotherapists that come in to work with the individuals?
Not all individuals. Sometimes it will be your duty to provide the physiotherapy. But of course we will have structured outlined steps of what physiotherapy you will be providing, and it's very rigid in the fact that you can't over stress certain parts of their body. So we want you to be fully aware of what you are expected to do for their physiotherapy.
Okay.
So the last behavioral question is, tell me of a time you had to deal with somebody who was aggressive and what steps you took.
Well, there was a resident I was working with that that had dementia, so they were confused at times and didn't understand why they were in a home or in a place of residence. So we had to redirect them, and calm them down, and try to reorient them back and why they were living in that home, and then we were there to help them. And yes.
Okay, that's great. So, like I said, our clients are developmental disability kind of sector, so we don't have too much dementia cases, probably none really, until our population does get older. But our clients do have similar traits with dementia, which will come in handy with your experience. So they do have confusion. They also will have states where they just don't want to comply, and they will use aggression as their verbal ability to announce that they don't want to complete a task. So it may be something that you will deal with regularly on duty. All right, so the next sort of questions are just additional questions, more of supplemental information that we require, and just basic background. So what do you find is the best way to help somebody who is extremely emotional? There's no right answer to these sort of questions. It's completely unique to you, and you can provide any original answer.
I think the best way is to not focus on the task, but rather the individual. So it's important to take your time and kind of work with the speed or the abilities of the individual to kind of gradually complete the tasks.
Okay. All right. So if they were crying, what specifically do you find is the best way to...
You could sit with them, and if they don't want to be touched, just kind of sit and be there to know that you're there if they do want to talk. And if they do want some physical contact, you could place a reassuring hand on their arm or their shoulder to kind of comfort them until they're ready to talk about what's kind of upsetting them at that time, to see if you can alleviate that discomfort and find a way to help them through their emotional state.
That's great. I was just funny because I was thinking of a time where we were in CPI and somebody brought up this question, and we were all wondering when we would use it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the next sort of question was, tell me what you know about behavior modification, which ties into the last question.
I don't know too much about behavior modification. Mine is more on the emotional aspects, but I do know that it involves working with the abilities of the client.
Would you like a drink?
Sure.
Sure. Sometimes you get that tickle in your throat.
I'm sorry. Just remembered a joke.
Sorry, what were you saying about behavior modification?
Did you know that it...
Okay, maybe we'll come back to that one.
Yes.
All right, so my next sort of question was, why would you want to work for our company above other companies?
I have found that your company does do a lot to help and work with individuals to kind of foster their independence and to develop their abilities so that they can become more dependent and live on their own.
That's true. That's great. And we do focus on innovative techniques, which is kind of sets us apart from other agencies. We try to foster younger perspective, more modern, and try to be as innovative as we possibly can. All right, so back to the behavior modification. What sort of experience do you have with behavior modification?
I have worked with some individuals with behavioral difficulties, but most of my experience is with dementia residents, where they have behaviors related to aggression and violence because they are confused by their surroundings. So in those times, I found that the best way is to kind of let them know that you'll come back and give them a few minutes to kind of calm down and gain their composure, And when you do come back, it's important to approach in a calm demeanor and try not to force the situation that you want, but rather work with the speed of the individual or resident.
Perfect. All right. Well, that pretty much answers all of our information. Did you have any questions for yourself?
No.
No. Okay. So the position is left open for the next 2 weeks. So you should hear from us in that meantime. You will be hearing from the human resource manager, which is my boss. So you'll be hearing from them.
Okay.
They may call you or they may send you an email, either one. And when they do, they might ask you for some background information, such as references and a police check. So just be prepared. If such information is required, you could get that ready now, or you can wait until you reach the phone call.
And how long will that take
About 2 weeks.
No.
All right. Well, it was nice meeting you,
Okay.
and hopefully we'll be here for them.
Okay, thank you.